Okay, I'll just start and then take any questions you have. Frustrating loss today. Always disappointing when you lose. I was proud of the way our offense came out early and ran the ball well against the number one defense statistically in the league going into the game. I was proud of the way we ran the ball and really ran it all the way throughout the game. I thought our running backs, our tight ends, our offensive line, the depth that was showing up and helping us was outstanding. The effort they gave all game long. I think of Irv and him playing through it, Conklin stepping up, Mike Boone and Amir Abdullah doing a great job when they got opportunities. I thought we moved the ball well much of the game. Had strong drives, but didn't turn it into points a couple of times in the red zone. And when we were in field goal range, a sack took us out of field goal range, and so the endings of some of those drives were what upset us. And overall it was just a game we didn't win, didn't make enough plays, and now we got to move on. And obviously the last 3 weeks become critical as every week is, but we don't have a lot of room for error now. So I'll take any questions you have.
Kirk, it's hard to see when we're watching on TV when we're not in the stadium back here, but I have to assume that Adam and Justin, you just weren't able to get them as involved as you'd like to be. We can't see what's downfield. Was it just not there to go to those guys and sort of rely on them for that spark that they can give you often?
And it was a combination. They did do a good job of putting a safety over top of them or doubling them on third down, and taking away some of their routes. At other times we did work them a little bit, but yeah, the explosives was what didn't show up today. The shots down the field, and I think that was part of their plan, was to take that away. And maybe that's why we ran the ball a little better, was they were concerned about taking away those deeper shots. I don't know. Once you watch the film, you get a better feel for that.
Kirk, you mentioned it was a frustrating loss. How frustrating was it just dominating the early part of the game, and it's only 6-0 because you miss an extra point, miss a field goal, then boom, just like that, Brady throws a long one, and all of a sudden you're down after you guys had pretty much dominated?
Yeah, I mean that's football, and I remember on I don't know if it was our first or second, it might have been our first drive. I break the huddle on third down, and I see that, hey, if I take a sack here, we're going to be out of field goal range. Can't take a sack, and then I took a sack. So that you think about your role in being able to give your team points, and you go back now. I'm going to watch that film and see how I can ditch the ball or escape and just avoid the lost yardage that then made field goals so much more difficult or forced us to punt. I think that was something that I could have done better today.
Kirk, Tyler Conklin played well in place of Rudy today. What did you like from him the most today?
He's the real deal. He's a complete player. I mean, he can pass protect. He can run in man coverage. He can win. He's smart, so we can put a lot on his plate mentally, and we do. And so I was grateful for him to get that opportunity, because he's been working really hard, and he can do that, week in and week out. He just hasn't had the opportunity, being a 6th round pick and being behind Rudy and Irv. But, his career trajectory is pointing up, and I think today showed that.
Speaking of Rudolph, was he trying like heck to play? I mean, how hard did he try to play? Because they didn't list him obviously as out. This was doubtful.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to be Kyle Rudolph, working hard, being there early, doing all the necessary steps. I mean, he said, I got 24 more hours to convince these guys to do something stupid and let me play. So he was trying hard to get in, doing everything he can, but obviously had to be smart. And then he'll be doing the same thing this next week to get ready to go.
Kirk, how hard is it as a teammate? I mean, it was uncomfortable for us to watch Dan go on and miss those 3 field goals after the missed point. But how difficult, obviously, as the leader of the offense, but as a teammate too?
Yeah, no doubt. We win as a team, we lose as a team. And this league will test you no matter what position you play. And, it's one day. And I've always believed, to encourage myself in those games where I've, thrown 4 interceptions and felt like it cost the team the game. I've been in that moment. And what you do is you realize you're playing for the long game. And it was one day. It wasn't, one season or a career. It was one day. And Dan's done so many great things for us this season and made a lot of big time kicks, and through his career made so many big time kicks. So, you don't ever want to make a bigger deal out of one day than it needs to be.
Kirk, describe that possession that right before their Hail Mary, you guys got the ball, I think 44 seconds.
Yeah.
3 and out was only like 13
Right.
seconds off the clock.
Yeah, another one of the possessions that you feel had a big impact on the outcome of the game because, you see yourself with an opportunity there to at least get into field goal range, maybe go down and score a touchdown. And like you said, not only did we not get points, but we didn't burn clock. And again, that's where, taking a sack there might actually be helpful because it would force them to use a timeout or run clock, as opposed to when, you throw in completions, it stops the clock for them. So all those situational pieces that end up having a big impact on the game.
Kirk, on that note, do you guys feel like you might have burned too much clock down 23-6 on that second touchdown drive? I know this was the second time this season you guys lost when you had 39 minutes of possession. Did you feel like you maybe didn't have enough time there at the fourth quarter to pitch that comeback?
The only reason I didn't feel that way was how much time was still left. I felt like we did have plenty of time. At least if we're talking about the one where we did end up scoring and getting the 2-point conversion. I mean, that was a long drive that took up most of the third quarter, but I felt like when we finished the drive that there was still plenty of time. Obviously, we couldn't afford to have them go down and score and separate the lead again. But, and then obviously the next drive, we went down the field and had time, but then we couldn't finish, with the touchdown. And so those are the endings to the drives are what are so critical as opposed to the time. And then obviously eventually we got to a place where, it was a 2-score game with 5 minutes left and we had to be in a hurry up mode, and that made it difficult.
Final few questions for Kirk.
Kirk, you mentioned that there's little margin for error left. Do you guys pretty much have to win out now to make the playoffs?
I don't know all the scenarios. I would like to win out. So that'll be my focus, but you never know what the scenarios will come down to week 17, but I'd prefer to just try to go 1-0 each week and give ourselves every chance to be playing January football.